Thank you for joining us for Turn the Page with Paige, brought to you by Southwestern Illinois College. I'm your host, Paige Holsey. I think it's fair to say that all children want to shine while being accepted and even celebrated for their uniqueness. I mean, let's be honest, adults too, right? That is why the children's book, Little Jolly, the sprinkle who wants to be a cookie, resonates so much. This is just the latest adorable book from author Diane Mizwicki, who is a wonderful storyteller, but also an aunt on a mission dedicated to honoring her nephew, Colin Brown, whose death shook the St. Louis hockey community. And we are going to talk much more about Colin and how you can support the Colin Brown Foundation through these books in just a moment. First, though, I do want to introduce author Diane Mizwicki. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about your newest book right here. It's so adorable, and it focuses on a small character, just a sprinkle, but one with very big dreams. Why did you want to write this?
This is I'll try to do it as quick as I can. I make holiday cookies every year, and the cookie is not so good looking. Doesn't look like the pretty sugar cookies. And everybody would pass up my cookie. And I'm like, it's probably the most delicious cookie.
Like you felt guilty for it, like you felt bad for it, like as if it was a person who had feelings.
Yes, I felt horrible. I'm like, this is just not right. I felt bad. So it evolved into not just a cookie, but a sprinkle and so on.
I love it. Okay, so tell us more about how you took that feeling, that experience, and turned it into a book. What happens inside Little Jolly?
Little Jolly, his whole entire life wants to, he's never getting picked. He's not the pretty sparkly sprinkle. He's kind of just a normal teal sprinkle who just keeps getting passed over and passed over and passed over. And so eventually in the book, he gets his chance to shine, and well, I'll let you read it and see the ending.
Well, I want you to know that, and Little Jolly too, my boys love all sprinkles, okay?
Oh, good,
so they would love Little Jolly. Just
good.
The teal way Little Jolly is.
Good. I love that.
Now, your first book, though, again, adorable, but it's a unique take on the Tooth Fairy. What happens to Brave Blondie?
Brave Blondie is extremely clumsy. She kind of bungles her missions quite a bit. She struggles to get her normal job done nightly collecting teeth. So she, again, has to find different ways to be creative to get her job completed.
And I understand that Brave Blondie was created during some long nights as a mom.
Yes. So my oldest daughter, who is now in her 20s, we would, like any new parent, right? You're laying in bed with your child, you're reading book after book after book after book, and she was still wide awake, like majorly wide awake. I'm like, oh my gosh. So here I'm closing my eyes, just trying to like relax a little bit because I'm exhausted for being a new parent. And I just started making up stories as I'm laying there. She was blonde, very blonde. So I'm like, there was a little girl named Blondie. And so after I would say these crazy little stories in my head, I'm like, that's not so bad.
That's pretty cute. Yeah.
I'm like, so then I started writing, but this was like
a few years ago.
Yes,
just
a few years ago.
Okay, so Brave Blondie, though, she's stuck around, and the fairy tale world collides, worlds, I guess, collide in the sequel, Brave Blondie's A Not So Merry Christmas. Oh no.
Yes, it is not so merry because Brave Blondie does, in the first book, she ends up doing really, really good, and her boss, Patrick, promotes her and her partner, Mushi, to the North Pole, which is every tooth fairy's dream is to go to the North Pole. And so they are promoted there, and things don't go as planned. So that is why it is not so merry.
Okay, I see fantastic stories and good lessons maybe along the way.
For sure.
Sweet. Now, as we mentioned, a portion of proceeds from book sales right now will go toward the Colin Brown Foundation and his scholarships at CBC. Most of St. Louis will recognize a photo that we have here of Colin as a hockey player. But you shared one, Diane, that I found so moving. It is a young photo of Colin and your son, just as little boys. So Colin's mom, to explain this, is Diane's sister. She is Colin's aunt. How does your family want Colin to be remembered?
Well, basically, this is why they started the 72 Acts of Kindness, and we would love everybody to follow it. My sister, really all over the world, people have, all over the world, all over the U.S. probably, have been sending in their acts of kindness in Colin's name. So what we want people to remember is, from a very young age, Colin had just the biggest heart. Like, he just would always do such nice things for either his teammates, his classmates, anybody. Like I was sharing with you earlier, like when he was young, my sister and my brother-in-law and his brother, like they went out to dinner in Chicago, and he saw a homeless person and he said, "Mom, can we give him our leftovers?"
As a 5-year-old.
As a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, kind of unheard of. Like, you know, I don't know if a lot of kids would have thought of that at that age. So he's always done extraordinary things even from a young age. So they want everybody else to continue doing acts of kindness in his name. So if you ever do anything nice, whether, you know, sometimes you see somebody pay for your drink in front of you in Starbucks, just make sure it's for Colin Brown.
I love that. Yeah, and we all saw that photo of Colin in his hockey gear, and he's so handsome, and you hear how smart he is, but I love hearing the stories about just at his core,
Yes.
an amazing person.
Yes, yeah, he's blown us away. Like, there's no doubt he would have went on to do amazing things. He wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. He wanted to go to the University of Michigan, and there was no doubt that he would have achieved that.
Well, thank you for sharing more about him and about your family as well. We always wrap up here on Turn the Page with Paige by asking your recommendation for another children's book.
Oh, okay. So obviously I love Christmas.
Yes.
I have for my entire life, I've loved Christmas. And that was one reason I wanted to do my Christmas book. But my all-time favorite book, my family, we read it it was like pushed away for the whole year. So you can only
have to save it.
Yes, you have to save it just for November and December. Was Jolly Old Santa Claus by George Hinkle. And it is probably came out in the 1960s, but we still have it.
It stands the test of time.
The illustrations were all done from oil paintings, and I think the oil paintings were just actually sold as is, but then they made a book out of it. It's amazing.
Great recommendation. Diane, thank you so much for joining us. So good
Thank
to meet
you.
you. Check out her books. They are adorable. And check back for another episode of Turn the Page with Paige very soon. Thanks for joining us.